Hey guys, how's it going? I'm making this video today to expose this false teacher, Melissa Dougherty. She's self-righteous, she's a Pharisee, and she teaches a very subtle works-based salvation, which is called backloading. If a person says true faith has to have works, they're saying works are a requirement to be saved. It's very subtle. These people say, oh, works don't save you, but if you don't have works, you're not saved. It's the same exact thing, it's just in a more subtle and sneaky way. They make works a requirement to be saved. So we're going to get into some clips of her and we'll talk about them.
Zealously embraced the idea that we could be saved by faith alone. But some people thought that you didn't need works at all because of this. And James says, no, let's talk about this. Let's correct this.
So in that clip and the clips I'm going to show throughout this video, you'll see that she makes works a requirement in a very subtle way. She makes it a requirement for salvation, and that's a false, accursed gospel from the devil. The devil is very subtle. He's not going to come right out and make it obvious to you that they're teaching works, but they do it in a very sneaky way, where they say, if you don't have works, you're not saved. It means the same exact thing, because they make it about works when it's not based on works. Romans 4:5 says, but to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Notice how it says, to him that worketh not. Romans 3:28, therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. No works. Romans 4:4, now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. And this is what you guys got to realize, that all the false religions have good works, and they abstain from certain sins, which is also works. That's Catholics, Muslims, Mormons, Buddhists, Hindus, even some atheists. They all have good works. So works aren't evidence that you're saved.
Is that there's two different types of faith: a true faith that saves and a false faith that is dead. One is alive, it's a live faith, and the other is a dead faith. And
James chapter 2 is the most popular passage for false teachers because they take it out of context and make it about salvation to teach a false works-based gospel. So let's read James 2 and we'll look at what it's really saying here. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Okay, so the key word here is what doth it profit? What doth it profit means that it's talking about how useful your faith is to other people. It's not saying it's not a true faith if you don't have works. It's not saying you're not saved if you don't have works. That's what these false teachers like to tell people because they're Pharisees. They're self-righteous. They think that their works are enough to save them, but telling other people, oh, if you don't have works, you're not saved. It's a damnable gospel, guys. It's a very subtle works-based gospel. You got to watch out for these people. They take passages out of context like this and they wrest the scriptures to their own damnation.
James is stressing the point that there are people who will say that they believe in God but have no evidence of it. Then that kind of faith they have is a dead faith. You can't say you're a believer and follow Jesus and not bridle your tongue. You cannot say that you are a follower of Jesus and live like the world. You can't say that you are a believer and go against what the word teaches. A true follower of
This is what you're always going to get from the false teachers, the modern day Pharisees. It's a holier than thou attitude, implying that you can't believe in Jesus if you sin, and also implying that they don't sin, so they're holier. Everyone still sins every day in thought, word, or deed. And you're either a liar or unaware of God's standard if you say you don't sin. So Melissa Dougherty is corrupting the gospel, perverting it, making it about works, taking an obscure passage in James has nothing to do with salvation and making it about salvation, so she could preach her holier than thou attitude. James is written to the brethren. Brethren are believers in Jesus Christ that are already saved. Now, this is how you spot a Pharisee, guys. They condemn people and accuse them of not being true believers. The devil is the accuser of the brethren. And Melissa Dougherty is subtly accusing her followers of not being true Christians. Because she's saying, if you live like the world, that's not true faith. You're not saved. It's a subtle work salvation. Beware, guys. She says you can't be a believer and live like the world. So she's saying she's holier than thou because she doesn't live like the world. But the Bible talks about carnal Christians that are still saved. This is what these people don't get. It's by grace. It's nothing that has to do with what we've done. It's all what Jesus did for us. It's not of works, lest any man should boast. She's boasting because she's implying that she doesn't live like the world, so she has true faith. This is the verse that I give to false teachers. It's all by grace. It's nothing that we do. Beware, guys. There's a lot of false teachers out there today. You could spot them when they condemn people, accuse the brethren, and teach a work salvation. God bless. Have a good one, guys.